I was thinking to myself, like, okay, this is going to be this human life that I'm going to have to take care of and protect and educate for the rest of my life.
Well, my name is Eric Hoppenbrower, and I'm a former Army intelligence analyst with one combat tour to Afghanistan.
Hi, my name's Nate. I'm a small business owner from Melbourne, Florida. I have a 4-year-old daughter.
I'm married to my beautiful wife, Megan, and we have a 5-month-old, Walter, Timothy, who is the light of my life. In the operating room, I didn't realize any of what goes on, and there's like 10 other people in the room, and the doctor comes in at like the last second, and none of it seemed very real until he was born. And it's because it's this orchestrated play where they whisk him away to a table and the techs clean him, and he almost comes to life at that moment, and you hear him cry and you realize the power and the power of the responsibility that you have in terms of being responsible for someone else, another human being that can't take care of themselves. Specifically when you see them in he was 7 pounds, 7 ounces, and sitting on the scale and looked pink and red and obviously was new to the world and didn't know anything, but they sit him up and he's crying, and I start saying, don't worry, Walter, it'll be okay. And he instantly knew my voice and looked at me and calmed down. That was a really powerful moment, because I realized that even in the womb, he knew who I was. He knew who his mom was. He even knew what kind of music he liked in particular.
When I saw my daughter on the ultrasound at the medical facility, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, this is going to be this human life that I'm going to have to take care of and protect and educate for the rest of my life. And then, obviously, like when she was born, I held her. That was a huge thing. It was a beautiful time, but then also, like, you realize you have the responsibility, and you feel a tremendous amount of love. Like, you want to educate and protect your child and make them the best they can be in this world. My daughter wasn't planned. It wasn't at the best time, because I was trying to get my businesses off the ground. Finances were tight, and I always wanted to have a child, but I was just, I was 40 years old. I was starting to just really focus on my business, which really consumes a lot of time. And my question to myself was, like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to, like, give this human, which is my daughter, like, the best life possible, be able to be there for her and, love her and provide, everything that I possibly can to make sure she succeeds in this world. So it was very stressful, but you just make things happen. I don't even know how I made things happen, but somehow I made things happen. And I mean, she's doing great. So, I guess the thing, like, I just accepted it. I ran with it, and everything turned out okay. You can't put a price tag on the experiences you have with a child, so was it worth it? Absolutely, it was worth it, and I totally do it again. But I would plan it next time, because you can't put a price tag on the experiences you have with your own child, or pretty much any child for that matter, when you actually are spending time with them and just sharing the beautiful experience of life.
Well, nobody's ready, even if you think you're ready. I know people, it's a cliche, but Megan and I tried to be as ready as we could be, and you're not ready for how much satisfaction you get from having a child, because it's an experience and a feeling that you can't calculate, you can't plan for, you can't be ready for, but it's the best feeling in the world. I have a friend who recently, in his early 40s, had a son, and he didn't think he could, and he one time told me when his son was 6 months old, Eric, it's the best feeling in the world. And I acknowledged him. I said, yeah, of course it is, not realizing exactly what he meant. And just a few months ago, I looked at him and said, my friend, and said, hey, I understand what you mean. And we both, without saying anything, knew that we both understood what it means to have a son.
I mean, there's always an exception, but I don't think you can ever truly be ready for a child. You just kind of like got to dive in with both feet and do the best that you can with the resources that are out there. And like, things just kind of fall into place, you know. But there's always scenarios that can come up. I mean, it just, you just don't know what life's going to throw at you. So, I mean, I don't think anybody can be ready for life. So it just goes hand in hand. I mean, it's just part of life.
You know, the abortion issue, reproductive rights, unplanned pregnancy issue, it's a pretty difficult and heady topic. And I want people to know, or at least hopefully think about, how they discuss it with their friends, family members, and even people they meet on the street, because it's a very emotional topic, and you really have to try to put yourself in the other person's shoes when listening to how they feel about it. And you'll find that most people naturally are pro-life in a sense that they understand basic right and wrong, and that encouraging people to stand on those fundamental ideas is always important, and not, you know, beating them over the head because they may not believe exactly what you believe, and let them, you know, eventually come around to what we all know is true, which is that life is incredibly important, and that we have to protect it.
Being a parent is the most rewarding thing of my life, even though it was unplanned or planned. It's you can't top the experience of raising your own child and seeing part of you in them.
You know, people should be pro-life because you don't know who the next Nikola Tesla is going to be. You don't know who the next Theodore Roosevelt is going to be. Like, you have no idea the uniqueness of every human life. You have no idea the impact they might have on the world. You don't know what new product they might create, what lives they might save, how that person would have an impact on even one other human being. And so it's so important to make sure that we protect every human life, because you just never know. Stand for Life on April 23rd.